Hello, good morning. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing out there? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Afternoon, evening, brunch, wherever you may be in the world. What's up? 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 Yo! What's up, Juggalo? Grubber? How you guys doing? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Dynamesh? Dynamesh 3D. That's a good name, man. That's dedication. That's Twitch dedication to ZBrush. I like that. It's very good. Good brunch. Yes. Brunch. For me, it's pre-breakfast. Bright and early, 6 a.m. That's alright. Sometimes you gotta be up early. Get the morning started right with some awesome ZBrush stuff. Right? Right. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Easy Born, what's up? How's everybody doing? Alright. So, for West Side. That's right. Cali. Um, if any of you guys have not joined me on this particular project, um, yeah, grinding at 6 a.m. Absolutely. This is a project that I am working on. Have been working on for a little while now. He's actually getting pretty close to being maybe about 3/4 of the way done with tertiary details, and actually about to start getting close to wrapping up the clothing and armor for final details. Still need to work on the face and the skin. Um, yeah, that's about where we're at. Um, if you guys don't know, this is a concept from Adrian Wilkins. That he did him with in a collaboration with Tim Lochner and Andrejs Skuja. They did some amazing concept work for Horizon Zero Dawn. So I figured what better way to practice AAA pipeline character development than actually using something that was art director and art actually approved for in-game production. So found this guy. I think he's really great, awesome. Well, they're all really awesome, but this guy in particular I wanted to work. So that's what I'm working on. This is the exact guy that I'm going for, and I feel like we're getting close. We are getting close. Here's a little bit of side-by-side comparison. We've definitely still got some to go. Today I think I'm going to work on the boots. The boot time. What's up, Nikki? Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. So I think we're going to work on the boots today. And it's pretty much getting close. And good morning. After that, I think we need to work on like the head of the bandana and stuff, and then eventually I've been putting off doing this little belt thing for quite a while. So I eventually got to do that, and then I got to finish doing the last little bits to like the pouches and stuff. So we're getting close. We are getting close, but today we're going to do more leather details. It's a process that I've done a couple of times now. I'll get you guys a little bit closer look at what some of these juicy leather details look like. This piece was kind of the first and foremost experimental, like how am I going to tackle all of the detail for the leather. Felt like this was a good process, so we went ahead and did the same process to this piece, Is this all the way up? Yeah. And these pieces, obviously. You know what? We gotta do these guys as well too. Alright. I feel like working on the boots though today. It feels like a boots day. A boot. A boot. Alright, so that's where we're at. Alright, so yeah, definitely want to add more kind of details to this. This is kit bashed from another project that I worked on earlier, so these are kind of just slapped in there. So I want to do a little bit more on those guys. Then obviously we got to do more on the head as well. So lots of little things. It's getting there. Stop looking at his butt. God, guys, so. All right. Well, without further ado, let's jump in. Okay. God. So these are just dynameshed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create new pieces and then just yeah. So I'm going to create new pieces, project them onto this one, and then use subdivision levels to go up and down through the ranks. So you get to see kind of the full process from like the initial block out with first and secondary forms to kind of that final detail. So let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So basically, what I'll do is just kind of turn everything off. See where I'm at with this. Let's duplicate this bad boy off. I usually have a bunch of. Let's take this guy and throw him down to the bottom. I usually have a kind of a little list of subtools down towards the bottom that I've kind of just turned off. Everything else I keep on just for easier use. So I'm just going to shift click the eye to turn everything off. So we'll turn these two on. Alright, and then this one, what I'm going to do is let's turn off Dynamesh. We're going to go into Geo, we're going to go to ZRemesh, and then I'm going to do just half, and then probably take this down to around 20, this one around 20, and then we'll just do ZRemesher real quick. I don't really care too much about what the base topology is, as long as it's relatively clean topology. I don't mind, because I'm going to end up just retopoing it later in Modo. So I just want some relatively evenly spaced geo so that I can go in and sculpt fairly easily and things aren't like super crazy. So this is maybe let's try to bring the adaptive size down to like 10. So let's undo that real quick. Let's do one more ZRemesh. Try not to spend too much time being finicky with this stuff, just because it's not really going to matter too much. I'm going to end up subdividing this to around 1 million polys anyways. But I just want to make sure that they're relatively even polys, and that these little star areas aren't in like big spaces where I'm going to have super minute detail. This is fine because it's going to end up being underneath, or at least close to underneath that belt, so that's fine. The other thing I can do too is sometimes I can just go in and do some corrections real quick, just to make life a little bit easier on my ZRemesher. Because ZRemesher puts in a lot of work, you know? You want to make it work easy enough for him. Alright, let's try that one. It is early. for ZBrush too. You know, you gotta take it easy for ZBrush too. Can't come out of the gate sprinting first thing in the morning. You know. All right, that's. I guess the other thing that we can do too is use Alt and then hit ZRemesher, because there is two different algorithms that ZBrush is used for ZRemesher. So if you hold down Alt and hit ZRemesh, you can see that it gives me different results. Right. So if you don't like one, you can try the other. So I'm going to go back. I like the first version better, so just going to do it in the normal way. Now give me my star down here. But everything's nice and even up here. So let's just go with this. Alright. So I'm going to subdivide a couple of times. Let's hover over this and see. That's 5 million? Well, that's plenty. I don't know if we need 5 million. Jesus, man. Let's go back down to 3, which is 1.26. I think that's fine. We can do just a little test and see. Let's pull in some alphas real quick to test to see if that's enough. So I'm going to go grab my alphas. Right quick like. These are just from some leather alphas from Surface Mimic. Awesome little resource website that I highly suggest checking out if you need some. Yeah, I think that'll be alright. We don't need to go super crazy. Surface Mimic is the website. Surface Mimic. How long would you say it takes to create one character like you're working on now? This guy I've probably put in maybe about 2.5 weeks worth of full-time work. Maybe 2 weeks. So I'm probably about 75 to 80 hours so far, just into maybe closer to 70 to 75 for the high-res mesh. Okay, so I think this is plenty. We're at 1.2. That's plenty. So this, again, this is, you know, this will be kind of more of a far read. It's not going to be the super close up, you know, this is where we're staring at. I mean, this is just, it's down here, so it's going to, most of the time it's just going to be a far off read. So I don't need to go super crazy. That in mind, I want to make sure that it does read good from far away, right? Okay, so let's project. So we'll go down to project. And again, if you guys haven't used project, basically what it does is it takes the active mesh that you're on, and anything that's visible, it will try to mimic the same surface area. So that's why I turned everything else off. We'll hit project. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, there we go. Alright, and now my subdivided version has all of the details from my Dynamesh version. And now I can go down and I can work on big shapes down on subdivision 1, and then come up to subdivision 3 and work on high details. So that's the reason for doing that. Becomes really helpful. Okie dokie. So, now let's take this dude, let's turn him off, throw him all the way down to the bottom. Let's turn everything else back on. What's up, Shu? How you doing? Okay, we got that, and then let's go back down and turn all these guys back off. We don't need all of this. Good. Okay. Cool. Now we're ready to rock. So we'll do I think we'll do the leather first. So we're gonna go. Just kind of move some of these pieces around just to make sure that all of my secondary forms are good. Guys, if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer questions as I go. Maybe this will come in just a little bit. Okay, cool. I think we're good. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and use layers for this dude. Okay, so let's start with, let's say, basic leather. Bass leather. Okay, so usually I'll just go in and start blocking in some of the areas where I want the majority of the details. So it's a little bit kind of a balance game as to what you're going to end up including in the actual sculpt mesh and what you're going to rely on the substance painter materials for that. So it's kind of a delicate balance between, you know, what do you bake in versus what do you put in into the materials. So what I've decided to do was just the basic leather noise. I'm going to go ahead and do that in Substance Painter. But what I really want to focus on is kind of the more characterized and position-specific details, right? So like the overall noise is super easy to do in Substance Painter. But like, you know, having like cracks that move with some of the forms, those are the ones that I really want to focus on here because they'll be a little bit more difficult to get in Substance Painter. So what I'm going to do is, actually let's set a morph target first. So I'm just kind of looking for this alpha to give me some kind of happy accidents and something to start from, and then I'll go in and actually sculpt in some kind of deeper details. So I feel like we can get some kind of going up this way, right? As some of this kind of scrunches in, we'll probably get some lines coming this way. Kind of the same for this dude here. And I don't really mind that all this other stuff is happening because I'm just going to morph that back out with morph target brush. Right. So now wear and tear, probably around here we'll have lines that go this way. And then we'll probably have some that go this way. Okay. I think that's... Maybe we'll do one more through here. Yeah, that's good enough for now. I think we'll do this center pass, and then we'll come back and do some border stuff. Alright, so because I have a morph target done, actually, you know what, before I do, I always find morph target sometimes gives me crashes. Morph target gives me crashes early in the morning. So I just like to do a quick little save before I do any kind of morph target stuff. So let's save that right quick like. Yeah, it's early. Holy cow, it's early. So the plan for this dude is I'm going to finish up the sculpt in ZBrush, and then so finish up the high-res sculpt, and then we're going to start breaking him down and getting him prepped for retopology, and then we'll also prep him for baking. And that'll probably be the extent of what I end up doing in on the Pixelogic stream. On my own personal stream, I will be taking him to final in-game textured, rendered, and everything. So I'm gonna do the retopo and UVing in Modo. Maybe Maya, not quite sure yet. And then we'll do our baking in Marmoset Toolbag 3, and then we'll do texturing in Substance Painter, and then we'll take it back to Toolbag for final renders. And the pretty ups. Happy to have any advice for pursuing career in character modeling. This is my first time in the stream. What's up, Tickles? How you doing, man? Yes. I would say probably the biggest advice I could give straight out of the gate is to figure out exactly what type of character artist you want to be. Do you want to be stylized? Do you want to be realistic? Do you want to do creature? Do you want to do more, humanoid style? Specifically stylized or character or realistic, because those two kind of usually spread off in different directions. It's tough to straddle both of those sides and work at a high level. So figure out which side you like doing better, and then I would take a look at some of the work that's already out there and figure out a couple of studios that you really like their style, and then start doing that kind of stuff. I'd say do what you love doing, and don't put a bunch of stuff in your portfolio that you don't like doing, because that's what you end up getting hired for. And then I would say probably the next big thing is to find artists that do that type of work and follow them, study their work, see how they do it, and then practice. It takes a long time and tons of practice to get good, And welcome, by the way, Tickles. Welcome. Alright, so we're going to use our morph brush, so we'll just go BMO for morph. And then I set the morph target without this leather, which means that with my morph brush, I can just come in here and just paint out some of those areas that I don't necessarily want. Alright, so this stuff I don't really care about. Really kind of looking at more of these like larger lines. Yeah, not a problem. I think probably one of the biggest things is just watching how other people in kind of that upper echelon work, and it gives you an idea of what it takes and how their process is, and you know the ins and outs of what it takes to create that art. Time expectations. Processes on how they do it, how and what they think about when they're working on it. That's honestly one of the big reasons why I started streaming. Is I love teaching, and I love sharing knowledge. So for me, one of the great things about streaming is that this kind of becomes a live, interactive, real-time tutorial, right? Let's actually turn back face mask on. So I want to get rid of this stuff back here. So it gives you a chance to kind of like see how and why artists make decisions in real time, which I think is like really, really understated in the importance category, right? Just watching somebody work and seeing, what they do, what they undo, and how they redo stuff is super, super, super important, right? Because it kind of like gives you an insight into how they think and why they're making the decisions that they're making. So that was one of the big reasons for me to kind of start doing the whole streaming thing. Is helps me teach and share some of that vast amounts of knowledge. Craziness. Alright, so now that I have just some kind of base stuff down, this gives me the opportunity to make really awesome happy mistakes, right? Or that happy mistakes can happen. So I'm going to set myself up for success, right? So now let's create another layer. We'll call this sculpt. So now I'm just going to go in with, let's say, my orb crack brush. So let's go grab orb crack. Go to my customs, grab orb crack. You can find orb crack. It's Michael Vicente. He's got a whole pack of brushes. This is actually pretty old stuff. So if you just Google orb crack ZBrush brush, you could find it pretty much anywhere. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm really going to focus on some of the more big characterized kind of veins, I guess, or cracks. And I'm just going to go in and start pulling out some of these. Alright, so by putting down this alpha first, it really gives me a lot of leeway into finding some more of these kind of specific areas that I want to hit. So that I don't just have to kind of make it up on my own. But these are the ones that kind of that I really want to make sure they kind of punch out. Like this one's really nice because it kind of comes across here. Maybe not up there too much. It's maybe a little bit too far. You're probably going to have some through this area. So when I'm kind of coming up with the process of doing this kind of really high frequency detail, I try to keep my process to maybe between 2 to 4 steps, so that it's just easier to remember, so that I can keep the style of detail consistent between the different areas, right? So I purposefully try to keep it somewhat simple. Right, so we've got putting in the alpha detail, then we'll come in and do some sculpting. And then once that's done, alright, so okay, I'll give you guys kind of the next step real quick. We call this one punch. So basically what I'm going to be doing is going to be coming in for the next step, would be using my little inflate brush and kind of pulling some of these areas out a little bit. Alright, so we're going to have some kind of buckling of the surface in minor ways between these types of cracks. Alright, so this is what I'm thinking about the next step is going to be when I'm deciding where to pull those details out. Alright, so it's really that extra little bit that really takes it kind of to the next level. So when I'm deciding where to make some of these decisions, where I'm deciding to make the decisions, yeah, it's early, don't worry about it. It's me knowing and kind of forecasting, seeing this type of detail, right? So I try. So again, about 3 steps. So use an alpha to kind of put down the base, sculpt in kind of the main parts, and then do some inflate to really push those out. Because you're like, oh wow, that's leather. What? Look at that sexy leather. Girl, look at that leather. Girl, look at that leather. Sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet this morning either. Alright, let's go back to my orb crack. Girl, look at that leather. Alright, so now we're probably going to have some kind of like major ones either come this way or come out this way. Right? And what's nice is that because these are on layers, I can pull that punch back. Let's say if maybe it's too much, I could even pull back the amount that does, which is really nice. And I can come back and just isolate like the leather. Right? Let's say some of this stuff I don't want. So what I can do is I can turn everything off, delete the old morph target, store a new morph target, come back into my leather, turn that on. We'll go to my morph brush, and I can just pull some of this stuff back. What? Right? Nice. I feel like this is a little bit too kind of like all over the place, where I really want to have more directional. So I'm just going to morph all this out. Maybe I'll do just a little bit. Let's turn these back on. Let's go back into sculpt. And then let's just redo that real quick. I'm going to grab my orb crack again. So I really want to have kind of more of this directional. So I don't really want to do any of this cross stuff because it doesn't look right. I just want to have some of this nice stuff going on. And again, it doesn't have to be super outstanding, super deep. I do want to make sure that, you know, it has a nice read kind of like from here, or at least a decent read. So I think what I want to do is make sure that I actually use my punch maybe a little bit more than I would up in here. Up in here? Up in here. Mostly because you want it to kind of catch your eye, because you're not really going to zoom in on the feet. So I want to make sure that as the common light and how this guy would be lit would be probably, you know, from the top, just like a normal kind of sunshiny day. Sunshiny day. Alright, sorry. So I want to be able to, like, I want my eye to catch those little pieces kind of down here. So I may need to make them a little bit deeper for the cuts and maybe a little bit more on the punch, just so that I can make sure that read happens. So it's super, super important to kind of like keep that in mind so that you don't waste a ton of time on something that you're never going to see, right? And you want to get the kind of most bang for the buck. So, you know, most of the time you'll see this, right? So I want to make sure that I can see those details and they just kind of pop in my peripheral. In my periph. Yo, what's up, Ashton? How you doing, man? What's up, buddy? So, maybe what I want to do is make these a little bit deeper. Maybe some of these would come across here. Right, and nice, dude. Nice. Hey, Ben, buddy. Life's good, hopefully. Okay, I feel like that may be enough there. And then for these ones, alright, give me a sec, man, I'll check it out. These ones they're, you know, going to be squished more this way. So I want these to kind of run a little bit more parallel to that belt. Life's getting better. It's always good. Keep building. Keep building. It's always good to hear, man. Yeah, dude, you should, man. It's I think it's a really cool challenge. The Art Station Challenge is always really great opportunities for people. Wish I had a little bit more time. I would totally do it if I had more time. I think that's enough for this one. All right, so let's go into punch. Let's grab my inflate, and then let's start grabbing some of this, really putting it out there. Environment, nice. Cool sword, dude. Nice materials. Nice job, man. Yeah, so the pants I started in Marvelous Designer. What's up, Naval? How you doing? Welcome. Welcome to the leather madness. This is the fun part. The juicy details. Maybe we can actually do a little bit of this in here too. Saturnine, what's up? 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 Yeah, man, good job. Feels good to get work done and like published and posted and stuff. Always feels good. Feels good, man. Feels good. Alright, so we get some of this stuff punched up. The sky is up. Yes, it is. Yes, yes, it is. So this particular piece right here is one of the ones that will really catch your eye. So I want to make sure that I get enough kind of realism within this area to really sell this from a distance. So like these little areas, especially where you're seeing a lot of the... So I also try to pay attention to where all my grayscale and light values are. I'll zoom out here in just a second, show you guys. So I'm seeing how much light is being caught here versus how much shadow, and the values of the lights versus the darks, right? So I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, and making sure that those will pop from far away. But not too crazy, right? You want to still... Right, so this right here is going to sell that as leather from far away, right? Like, oh, look at that. I still think maybe this is even a little bit too much. Like, it looks like it's a little too much frequency in there. Bjorn, dude, what's up, man? How are you, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, the great and amazing Bjorn Huri. Awesome, awesome, amazing guy and concept artist. Who actually did you finished up the Beyond Human ArtStation Challenge concept design. Dude, awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. Today we are working on leather details. All those leather details. So yeah, I feel like this is just a little bit too much. Too much. So maybe we'll just undo some of that. Wish I had more time to spend on it. Juggling 2 other freelance contracts at the same time. You're a madman, Bjorn. You're a frickin' madman. Yeah, there's just not enough time, you know? That's just not enough time in the world. I don't have enough time to really hang out with your kids as much as you want to. Not enough time to work on all the art that you want to. Not enough time to learn everything that you want to. Not enough time, man. So this area is really kind of bugging me a little bit. Feel like there's not quite enough of that like surface noise. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. We'll do a quick look at a little bit more of the finished stuff up here. Yeah, Bjorn, if you want to throw your link to your ArtStation stuff, please feel free. So yeah, kind of got a little bit more high frequency detail in um, some of the finer pieces in here. The finer pieces of life. Yes, bask in the amazingness. Why is that one on? There we go. Yeah, so this is kind of where we're at with like a lot of the nicks and dings and all that fun, juicy stuff. Yeah, man. Honestly, Bjorn, I was really close to like getting into the competition. I was like, I want to do some of Bjorn's work. That would have been freaking awesome. That's actually one of my goals is to do one of your pieces. I was like, this is gonna be an awesome opportunity, but I just didn't have time. Just didn't have time on my plate. Which sucks. Okay, so let's go back into layers real quick. Let's turn off punch and sculpt. And I feel like there's not quite enough details over here, so I'm going to go back into my base leather. I'm just going to add a little bit more here. Yeah, dude, that would be cool. That would be really cool. I actually worked on a project similar to that a long time ago, kind of in a more of a class setting. So it'd be really cool to do that again in more of like a couple of professionals working on it. I think the quality bar would be a little bit higher. Yeah, dude, I would totally be down. That that actually sounds like fun. Let's talk about that at some point. Let's talk about that because that would be really cool. That would be really cool. That would be really cool. Alright, so let's grab my morph target brush. Let's turn this off. We'll store a new morph target, come back in here, turn that back on, and then grab some of this and pull this back. Yeah, dude, I'll definitely hit you up. Yeah, that's actually a really cool idea. I started to try to do that with Milan Nikolic when I was doing Ham, but I took too long. We both got too busy, so um, it didn't pan out the way exactly that I wanted it to. Yeah, God, that would be so awesome. Yeah, 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 yeah. That sounds freaking awesome, dude. Yeah, let's. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap my head around that and see when I have some time in my personal schedule, and then I would love to throw that in because, dude, that'd be sick. That'd be sick, for sure. Okay, so base leather. I think that's okay. So let's turn the leather sculpt back on. Let's leave punch off for a moment. Let's go back into orb crack. And then what I'm going to do actually is I want to take this, looks a little bit weird. Yeah, let me see if we can play around, move around that. Let's go back into leather sculpt. If you want some contact for good quality 3D printing, I have it. Omni POV. That might be something worth looking into as well. Is your own printer Omni? Or what do you do, man? What do you do? Besides the obvious, that is 3D printing. This tank ain't gonna design itself. That's very true. Alright, man. Yeah, dude, I think we got a cool idea on our hands, so let me wrap my brain around when I got some open time in my personal schedule. And then let's chat. I'll hit you up on Skype or something. That'd be really cool. Not yours, friend of mine, just human resources boy. Nice. Okay, cool, man. No, it's totally fine. Totally fine, dude. Alright. Thanks, BR, man. Really appreciate it, buddy. Good luck out there. Yes, got it. Oh, okay. Not on record mode. So I feel like there's a little bit, even here, there's a little too much. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's go back to my morph. And it's kind of all a big kind of balance game. I feel like a lot of times I go in and I put too much detail, and then it's just kind of like just pretty noisy, you know? So I gotta practice a little bit more restraint and make sure that the noise feels good, right? It's not too crazy noisy and everything's kind of balanced out. I feel like this is a little bit too much in here, right? The amount of noise is kind of spaced out. I feel like that feels a little bit better. I don't like that there's even spacing between these two here, so let's get rid of this guy. Alright, you want to make sure that you follow good art design principles. Poof, gone. Nice. Poof. What do you need? Poof. What do you need? Sorry, my daughter's been watching a lot of Disney lately, sorry. But I was following good art design principles. In this particular case, the layered cake effect, where you have, you know, large space, a medium space, and a small space, right? So let's turn base leather back on. Let's go back into leather sculpt. Let's go grab my orb crack again. Right, so there's a large space here. Maybe we'll do half that space, right? From here to here to here to here. Something like that. You want to make sure that things still feel nice and organic. So making sure that details are kind of spaced nice and organically is always good. Always good. Hazanku, what's up, man? How you doing? Actually, I feel like that's probably good enough for that area. I think maybe what we can do is actually add a little bit on the top. So let's go back to base leather. Let's go back to my standard. Maybe we'll add a little bit up there. Maybe that's too much. Let's keep where it's at. Let's keep where it's at. Practice restraint. Okay, so let's go back into punch. Grab our inflate, and then we'll just pull these couple of these spots out. Practice restraint, Brendon. No, I want all the details. Let's turn these off real quick. Let's go back into my morph brush because that morph was still at 0, so I can just pull some of this back. Let's actually just redo this area real quick. Okay, let's turn these guys back on, go back into punch, grab my inflate, and then that I redid this area, I have to, I resculpted the fine details. I need to go back in and redo the punch real quick. It's totally fine. Alright, I feel we're going to have much more kind of buckling in this area as it gets closer to this kind of pinch point. Okay, let's take a look. That feels much, much better. Much better. Okay, I think that's enough for that area. Okay, cool. Let's focus on this area a little bit. Feel like this is a little bit too much, so let's turn these bad boys off. Let's record it here. Let's morph out some of this area. I'm going to actually redraw this. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to mask out this area. So awesome thing about having subdivisions, I can go down in subdivisions, blur that mask, flip it, blur it a couple of times, and then I can go back up. Awesome. Yes. Yes, please. So now when I come back through morph, Corgazer, what's up, man? How's it going? I can just kind of pull some of this back. I feel like it's a little bit too noisy in there. A little much. A little much. I feel like this is already feeling good, which is awesome. So let's go back in. Let's turn these back on. We'll go into leather sculpt. Grab my orb crack again real quick. That's good, man. That's good. That's music to my ears. You know, one of the main reasons why I'm here is to teach. So I love sharing them details. So that is music to my ears. So let's go kind of really pull out some of these deets. Again, I'm focusing on making sure that this is going to read from kind of far away. And then I want to make sure that I I'm keeping the amount of noise in a good spacing, right? Not too much. Yo, Bacon, what's up, buddy? Alright, so I feel that there's going to be tons of crunching in here, right? Tons of crunching. All the crunches. All the crunches. So again, you can see how important it is to kind of lay down that base texture. You can see it's really helping me make good decisions based on what type of material that is, right? Okay, I feel like that's probably enough. In the punch layer, we'll really pull the rest of that detail out. So I think we can come in here and start really pulling some of this. So this is one of the things that I was talking about and worried about when I was doing the original ZRemesher, is having evenly spaced geo. Because you see what's happening here is these squares, they're a little bit smaller than in this area, right? So what happens is when you go down and do super minute detail, this problem gets propagated all the way down. So when I'm going and doing this, that's exactly why, you know, we're able to get nice detail in here, and then as you pull through this area, you start getting more artifacting, right? So I want to be really careful of that area. I think this whole area right here I want to be really careful of, which kind of sucks because I feel like we need to do some decent detail in that area. So I'll just kind of have to play around it. Play around it. Around the roundabout. Let's turn that back up. So maybe most of my heavy detail will be in the here, and then maybe I'll do more detail here. Right, and then we'll just kind of leave this to be a little bit more not so heavily detailed. Less of the details. Alright, so maybe we've got this coming in. Make sure that actually goes into that area. Again, I don't have to go super crazy. I also want to make sure that, alright, this distance, and this distance stay relatively not the same. Right, we're talking about kind of that layered cake effect. A nice separation of details to make it look a little bit more organic. So maybe I'll just leave that out. And maybe back here we'll actually pull some bigger pieces. Maybe that can be enough. Alright, let's work on punch. Punch. This is where the fun stuff is. This is the payoff. Right, so they'll probably have lots of buckling through here. A lot of different surface heights, because this is kind of a high traffic area. And again, I want to make sure that it's kind of not so evenly spaced, but sporadic enough to make it look more organic than just too much noise. You know what I mean? I feel like that's good enough. Maybe we need more kind of right down here. So let's go back into the leather sculpt. Let's go grab my orb crack again. And maybe we'll actually do more kind of in this area. You see now that we're starting to get into another one of those areas where we don't quite have enough geo to make that look really, really good. So we'll kind of have to play around that. That's probably good enough. Alright, I'll go back to punch. Grab some inflate. Alright, pull some of these areas up. Just didn't think leather details could be so fun, huh? This is what wakes me up in the morning, boys and girls. I feel like maybe we can actually go a little bit further with some of these. Really pull out a couple places where you get a lot of that bunching. Boom, leather. Okay, we'll add a couple more on the sides, and then I think we can get, this will be close to done. Or at least this area. And also key to keep in mind that most of this will get another noise detail pass that's going to go over it in Substance Painter. Okay. We've got leather. Alright, so like these areas in here, this will all just be kind of just the regular noise. Again, that's why I'm really kind of just focusing on the kind of more characterized area, or like high traffic kind of areas. Alright, now I'll show you how how I do the outside here. Alright, so let's add another layer and we call it seam. I think we can just use either dam standard or orb crack again. I think I just used dam standard. Alright, so I want to have just a little bit of form separation in between the flat leather and kind of the wraps. Alright, so we get that nice kind of really the borderline. It really disconnects those two as an entity. Right? I'm specifically looking at the shadow and light detail. You get nice, a little bit darker down here, which means that this form is actually going pretty far in, which is kind of what I want. I want that far off read. And I may end up pushing that a little bit more in this area, just because I want the far read to read what I wrote. Right? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, really quickly, we'll go through and pull out some of these details in here. So, for my smooth, I'm going to go in and grab smooth valleys. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of a little bit of some of the noise that from my block in. Let's set this as my morph target real quick. And then under leather base, let's actually pull that detail back out of this area. Didn't quite hit that when I cleaned up before. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so go back into seam. Alright, so I'm going to go grab my other smooth brush. So let's go into just brush, go into smooth, and then I'm going to do smooth valleys. Yep. So that's going to replace my smooth brush. So I'm just going to come in here and just really lightly hit this. Basically what that's going to do is it's going to keep my forms, and I'm using the alt smooth. So hold down shift, click down the pen, let go of shift, and then just really lightly go over. And what that does is it just kind of helps smooth out the normals and doesn't do a lot of actual form changes. So smooth valleys is what I picked because I want the peaks to kind of stay where they're at as much as possible. So really lightly I'm just kind of going over this area. So these major shapes are going to help push my decision making when I go in for the next stage. So again, just using that alt smooth. Okay. I'll just hit the inside of this real quick. Okay. Now, the second part of this process is actually grabbing the slash brush. Slash. And I used /2. These are all packed with ZBrush by default. So what's nice about /2 is that if you go one way, let's turn this down a little bit. If you go one way, it'll give you one direction. If I go the other way, it gives the opposite direction. So I can really kind of play into this whole kind of like wraps thing going on. Not that kind of wrap. Alright. Really want to just make sure that that this reads from far away again. Yo, Uni, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, things are good so far. Nothing like waking up early in the morning and doing some high leather detail. High detail leather. High leather detail. Hi. Yeah. Lurkin's totally fine. Slurkin. What you doing? Slurkin. Oh, I could probably show you guys some of the work that I did on Citadel Forged in Fire. It's a new game that came out on Steam a couple of, I don't know, like last week, I think. Now that it's out, I can actually probably show you some of the work that I did on it. Alright, you guys, it's old work, so like I don't even know if I want to like put it in my portfolio, because it's like literally not even on the same level as this dude. So, actually, alright, I'll show it. Okay. And it was can you make a helmet, please? That was actually what really reminded me, because I worked on a couple of helmets for him. So let me save this real quick. And then, see if I can pull that up. Let's pull it up. So let's, this was, Dale, Force of Fire. Hey, there you go. So this is from Blue Isle Studios. Just got released through Steam. Oh, snaps. It's kind of like Harry Potter meets Skyrim. So you can like fly around as actually Harry Potter meets Skyrim meets base building. Something like that. Anyways, it's pretty cool. Check it out. It's actually in early access right now, so it's not the full release. But the couple things that I did work on, main guy I worked on actually was the big mountain troll. Let me show ya. So this is the piece, the dude that I worked on. Oh man, it's so, you see how far I've come just since then, and this was like December. So if any of you guys have played the game, This is a big kind of like mountain troll looking dude running around trying to kill you. Let's see some of the high res renders here. So this was close to being final. Let's see. Was that the final? No, this wasn't actually the final. Hold on a second. Hold on. Oh, high-res final. There you go. I should look in that folder. There we go. That was the final sculpt. Much better. So that was the final ZBrush high-res sculpt that I did. Let's see if I got some more closer ones. Oh, yeah. Yes, it was really cool to see him in the trailer. He like actually showed up like 3 times in the trailer. I was like, dude, that's my dude, that's my bro, Bruce. Let's see if I have a couple more images of the final. This one's kind of cool. It shows what the in-game mesh looked like. So before all the baking was applied. Bakers. The hair and cloth was pretty fun. This one doesn't even have all the hair cards on it. It just has kind of like the base shapes for the hair. Alright, so that was the final in-game model. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let's see what else I got. Yeah, that's pretty much that one. And then I also worked on a couple of helmets that are in the game. So this was one of the helmets that I worked on. Let's do replay. So that's the actual low-res in-game version. This was for Citadel Forged in Fire. I'll put it in there. Citadel Forged in Fire on Steam. So we got some really cool, nice materials going on there. That was fun. Again, this was all sculpted in ZBrush, redone, retopologized and UV'd in Modo, baked in. I think at the time I was actually baking this in Substance Painter, but textures are all done in Substance Painter, and then this is rendered in tool bag. Oh, such a tool bag. So that was one of them. Let's see if I have another one here. This is another one I worked on. This is the in-game model. Yep, love me some Substance Painter. Love it. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to work on. Some of them, you know, when you're working on a video game production, not all of them are super stellar projects. So sometimes you got to work on like the minute stuff, you know, like this one. But you still got to be able to make the super minute stuff look good, you know? So this is like level 1 mage cap. And then the final one I did was this guy. It was fun. Some fun ones for that. Do I use ZModeler? No, I used Dynamesh. Just use Dynamesh for most of this stuff. Yep. So that was some of the work that that I did for that. If you guys watch the trailer, you'll actually see this dude in there a couple of times. So yeah, I'll put the so if you want to check it out, watch the trailer. Look for the dude. He's there. The dude. I'm the dude. I would start super easy. I'm not. What I would do is, you know, start understanding like how to bake maps and what different maps are. You know, what's a normal map? What's a bump map? What's a curvature map? You know, what's a diffuse map? What's the difference between PBR rendering versus spec gloss? So metal rough versus spec gloss. I think understanding the maps is probably one of the most important things to do when you're doing game art, because that really drives what you're going to see in game, right? So it drives what you sculpt on your high res, because that's going to get baked down to a low res mesh, right? So understanding how the normal map works gives you the ideas of what to sculpt and what not to sculpt, that kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of like all over the place. Like Gnomon has a lot of stuff. Game Art Institute has a lot of stuff. It's kind of a long, drawn out process. There's tons and tons to learn and to kind of know about. So it's more of like a piecemeal thing. You know, putting together the things, understanding the things that you don't know, and then learning better the things that you do know, and then practice. Right? And start small, right? Start with just an object, right? Start with like a square, and then sculpt some stuff on the square, and then recreate the square in low res, and then learn how to bake the high res detail from your first high res square to low res square, and then put that into like Marmoset tool bag. It's a good place to do it, or Unreal, and then apply your maps to see how it works, and then move more. Once you understand the pipeline of like your high res versus your low res, baking the maps, putting all your textures and stuff on there, making sure everything kind of set up, then you understand the pipeline. From there, you start building more complicated stuff, and then more complicated stuff, and then more complicated stuff. I think that's probably one of the best ways to go about learning the process, if you're just going to be doing it on your own. There's all kinds of institutions and ways to kind of learn, but it takes a long time. It's not, you know, depending on how small you start, can take you a little bit of time, or it can take you a very long time. Characters like this, you know, in a professional environment, you're looking at a month to a month and a half, maybe even 2 months of full-time work. 40 hours. 40 hours a day, bro. That's how much I work. Psh. You're an environment stars, but ZBrush is probably one of my weaker skill sets. Yeah, man, there's no problem. I mean, I think that, you know, every different position in the pipeline of a full game has its, you know, has its own things that you need to be good at, right? I feel like for character art, ZBrush is pretty much a must. Again, I don't know a ton about environment art, but you know, there's a lot of times when you can make whatever you need to make that you don't necessarily need to be in ZBrush for. So I don't think it's the end of the world if you're not the best at ZBrush for an environment artist. I mean, it definitely helps, you know, if you're like sculpting rocks and like kind of more organic stuff. But I know a lot of the stuff you can kind of get away with just by, you know, modeling and stuff. So I think for environment art, modeling is probably the most important. And you can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I am not an environment artist. Yep, 40 hours a day. You can only be successful if you can work on this stuff 40 hours a day. It's the only way to do it, guys. Only way to do it. Went to school for it, but I had to quit. Yeah. I would say utilize Gumroad, Cube Brush. If you can afford to do some actual classes on like Gnomon or Game Art Institute or some places like that, it's much cheaper, and I think you can kind of piecemeal your education a little bit easier than a full-fledged university. But that's a whole nother topic for another time. Yes, I've tried Blender. I think Blender has a lot of good stuff going for it. I don't personally use Blender because I have Modo, and that works just fine for me. It's really about what you have access to. So, great thing about Blender is that it's free. Yay. Yay, free blenders! Alright. Just want to basically get kind of that read from far away. Alright, got it. Just needs to read similar to like this stuff up here, which if I keep the same process should read the same. Yay. Moda or Maya it for indie. I think it's whatever you're comfortable with, what you know, and what you can work in, and what you have access to. I mean, I think if you're going for, you know, trying to work in a big studio, that you should probably go for something that they use, right? So like, let's say if you want to work at DICE or at Blizzard, right? Blizzard I think is like, I think they use Max. Well, you know, let's say if you want to work on World of Warcraft, I think they still use Max, right? So if that's what you really want to do, use Max. Find a way to get Max, and then use that. Really, it's honestly it's more about, can you make awesome art instead of can you use this software. Software can be taught really easily with a little bit of time. But what can't be taught in a little bit of time is how to make good art. So as long as you're really making awesome art, it's not too much of a worry about which software you can use. Less of a deal. But if all you have is access to Blender, that's totally fine. If that's something that you feel comfortable in and you can make awesome art in, do it. Okay. There we go. That one's finished. Done. What are your thoughts on Pluralsight? Actually, Pluralsight, aka previously Digital Tutors, is where I started learning all of my stuff when I got back into the industry. So I think it's a great way to get awesome content to start learning stuff, and then it's really, really great at teaching you basic stuff. I'm sure there's more advanced stuff up on there, but if you want to fast track and you have time to just sit down and follow some tutorials really closely to get your mind wrapped around how that works, Digital Tutors is a great way to do it. That's actually where I learned the beginnings of ZBrush, was on Digital Tutors. So actually, I highly recommend that. Digital Tutors is actually called Pluralsight now. Like you can turn around and bug my character artist if I have ZBrush questions. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yo, what's up, Japomo? How you doing, buddy? So I think we just need to touch this little area real quick, and then this piece will be done. Actually, I want to kind of continue this around the front. What should he be doing to get great at it? I think once you understand how to do it, right? So I think that's what Pluralsight's really good at, is just showing you kind of the basics for the particular program that you want to do. After that, I would say practice like a mofo. All the practice. Just do it again and again and again and again. And then again. And then probably some more after that. And then when you feel like you can't even can't think of anything but ZBrush and modeling and texturing, do it again. Like a mofo. Seriously, that's how you should do it. Yeah. And I would say, keep getting inspired. I'd say follow artists that you like. Follow artists that do similar work to the work that you want to do professionally. I feel like that's one of the best ways that you can get your finger on the pulse of how work is being done in real time in studios. It gives you a quality bar to hit. And honestly, all those people out there that are making the games right now, that's your competition. You want to work at Blizzard? Guess what? You're going to have to as good as or better than the guys that are working there now. It's real. It's tough, but it's real. But most importantly, it's doable. It's doable. So do it. Just do it! Alright, so I'm going to go back to my leather sculpt. Let's pull in my orb crack again. And then let's just grab some of these areas real quick. Let's see. Probably going to have... Yeah, absolutely. Always happy to share advice. Always happy. I think one of the other big things is just don't give up. When you hear no, let that be the fire, the fuel for your fire. Oh no? Oh, I'll show you. I may not be bad now, but I'm sure as well be badass pretty soon. You're gonna remember that, and I'm gonna be like, I knew I was worthy, right? Just do it. What are you doing, gal? Get off your ass. Get back to ZBrush. Practice. I think one of the other really important things to do is to build yourself your own small group of amazing artists that you can get feedback from. Having that is super, super, super important. For me, that was really important. And some of the reasons why I have pursued people in the industry is because I want to build those relationships with people that are doing the work, so that I can get a better idea of what it takes to do the work. You know what I mean? What's up, Uber Bar? I feel like all this is just bootsy here. Alright, so let's think about this. Yeah, that's fine. So where are some of these cracks gonna go? Probably through here. And again, I'm trying to do this on my own, so I may just have to go in. I'm trying to take a shortcut and it's just not working. So I'm going to do it the right way. Let's turn off punch. Let's turn off seam. Let's turn off sculpt. We'll go back into base leather. And then we'll do this the right way. We're going to grab this bad boy. And actually, before we do that, we're going to go down to 1. And we're just going to mask this section off. Let's go back up to 3. And only bad thing was my Cintiq stand ordered 127 came and broken yesterday. No! Oh, that sucks, man. Tips for retopo for asymmetrical character. I've never done a single retopo and I'm stuck. That's a little bit of a tough one, I feel. I think it really depends on the actual character. I would say take it slow, make good decisions, and keep going. Retopo sucks. It's just one of the things that you gotta do. Try to keep your topology evenly spaced, and think about animation. Make sure you have enough edge loops in places that need to be deformed. And just keep going. Retopo sucks. I'm just gonna say it. Gonna put it out there, guys. Retopo sucks. I hate it. It's actually one of my least favorite parts. I actually like UVing more than I like retopo. What? Heretic. Yeah, you can do it symmetrical and then go back and change it later. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to do difficult project. Yeah, I think difficult projects really help you grow as an artist. So I would always take on challenges. Don't become complacent. Yep, that's right, Uber Bar. Keep failing. Fail hard, fail fast. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Still feel like that's kind of noisy. Let's start this over again real quick. I feel like this whole thing needs to get redone. So let's do it. All right, so let's go back in, and also don't be afraid to redo something if you feel like something just really isn't working out. It's not about what you have created; it's about what you can create. So don't let the fact that you have created something stop you from creating it better, you know? Yeah, I think if you feel like you don't have much movement in terms of getting better, that yeah, you may just be making the same mistakes over and over again. So that might be a good time to kind of reach out to your group of friends or whoever it may be, get some advice on maybe what you're doing wrong. You don't want to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Thanks, Ashton. Appreciate it, man. Yep, that's the plan. Just make it look good and juicy. Alright, so I feel like, alright, there we go. So let's turn these all back on. I feel like we got enough down here now to kind of give me a little bit more direction for the sculpting aspect of it. So let's do that. Maybe we can kind of come in here. Alright. Just pull in some of these areas in here. Alright. That's alright. It's already feeling better. So yeah, just like this, what I just went through here, like I had already thrown down a bunch of detail. It just didn't feel right though, you know? So like you got to make sure that you can, as they say, murder your darlings. It's just quite a horrible statement when you actually think about it, but you have to be able to let go of your creations. Let's go with that one. Murder your darlings is a little bit, I think, demented. a little much, if I may. It's a little much. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. But you have to be able to let go of a creation. Just because you create it doesn't mean it's always going to be good, you know? Yep, never practice in a bubble. Yep, get your stuff out there. Let it be digested by a community. Whether that community be social media, a group of friends, some mentors, that kind of stuff. Another good idea is to keep looking at your old work, because I feel like it's kind of like working out and losing weight. You don't really see it on a day-by-day basis, but if you look back at old pictures, you can see the difference, right? So keep your old stuff and go back and see how much you have changed, you know? Alright, I think we can move on here. Let's just add a little bit more punch to the punch. Some kick to the punch. Alright, it's going to be all nice and... yeah. It's kind of fun going back and look at old work. You know, you're like, man, when I did that, I thought I was the shit, man. I thought I was so good. You go back and look at it now, and you're like, ooh, whoa, oh, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Alright, so I think that's pretty much the extent of what I would do for these pieces down here. And it gets much quicker as you kind of do it again and again. The Facebook. I think what we'll do in probably the last couple of minutes, maybe just work on this guy a little bit. So let's divide this bad bro up. Maybe we'll take it off smooth once, and then we'll put it back on. How many does this have? 900. I could probably go a couple of different ones. 300. We'll go one more divide. 1,000,000. All right. So I think what we can do is kind of come in here and start beating up some of these edges a little bit. So some of the things that really help sell a material, or like the realness of some of these things, is just really kind of like weathering the edges and kind of moving things around so they aren't so uniform, you know? But also not just enough to make it look a little bit more organic. Okay, so kind of maybe pull this stuff up. Make a couple little indentations here. Excuse me. Pull some of this out a little bit. Alright, so sometimes just those small little secondary forms really help kind of sell the realism. Keep it real, bro. Keeping it real. Alright, then maybe, I don't know if we really need layers on this one. I think maybe what we can do is just add a little bit of detail here. Let's go up to level 6. Maybe throw in some of this. Before we do that, let's store a morph target. Maybe we'll just get a little bit of cracks in there. There's some that kind of come through here. Kind of nice. Actually, maybe what we'll do is we'll do one kind of big one coming through here. Yeah, we'll give a quick overview overview of this guy. It's been a little while since we stepped back. So anybody that's been in hasn't been in here since the beginning, this is the dude that I'm working on. It's a concept from Adrian Wilkins. Like I could put this into the chat if you guys want to take a look at the concept. Anyways, him in collaboration, Adrian in collaboration with Tim and Andrejs, did some awesome concepts for Horizon Zero Dawn. So I figured what better way to practice my own personal AAA pipeline than actually working from approved concepts. So, this is the guy, that's the dude. That's the dude I'm working on. He's getting pretty close. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Ashton. Really appreciate it, man. Feel like he's getting there. Heyo. 8 o'clock. Do you know where your ZBrush is? Anyways, yeah, I feel like he's getting pretty close. Have to work on the head. I haven't really touched the head pretty much at all. So once I finish up the armor, then I'll get into kind of making him look a little bit more like he actually does in the concept. So I'm not worried about his head at this point. But yeah, that's where we're at. I've probably about a little over 70 hours of work in so far. $70 hours? Yeah, a little less than 2 weeks of full-time work. He's getting there, though. See some of the more high-res that I have done up here. So pretty much the same stuff that I've been doing down on the boots. I did here. So basically just put in the large wrinkles first, and then came in, used the leather patterns to drop in. Again, pretty much the exact same thing. Used orb crack to come in and place some of those deeper ones, and then used inflate to just punch out some of those areas. And then pretty much did the same thing for the seams. And then just use like a couple alphas just to kind of like beat up some of the surface a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is for like this piece and like some of the leather pieces in the canteen, I actually put this minute detail on a layer. So when I go and get this prepped for baking, I'm actually going to take that detail out before I bake it, because I want that stuff to be added in Substance Painter in the actual materials, so that I can change it on the fly if I need to, if it needs to get art directed or anything. It's not, I don't have to like rebake it or resculpt it and do all that fun stuff. So I'm going to pull that out, but I put that in mostly because I want the renders of the high res to look good, right? As good as it can be. All you can be. So I'll take those super minute details out before I actually bake for production. Yeah. That's the word. I'm sticking to it. Alright, ladies and germs. I think that's going to be it for me this morning. Got to get ready and go to my actual work. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much went over the same detail, same process that I did for all of the other leather pieces here. So yeah, feel like looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. We're getting close. I'm gonna end up doing the same process to these big chunks here. Oh, Ash, always right at the end. It's all good. It's all good. Yep. Okay. So I'll be back in 2 weeks on Pixelogic. I probably will be. Jacob, what's up, dude? Yeah, I'm just finishing up right now, man. You missed it, buddy. You missed it. So yeah, I'll be back on ZBrush Pixelogic channel here. 2 weeks, same bat time, same bat channel. If you guys are interested in purchasing ZBrush and want to try it out, there is a free trial. You can find that on the Twitch page or the ZBrush Live page. And don't forget to check out some of the other amazing artists that stream on here too. One of them being A Cubed, Ashley. She does some awesome creature work. And let's see who's coming up next. I think it's Tim. Tim? We shall call him Tim. Joker, yeah, man. This is actually my own personal take on Horizon Zero Dawn character concept by Adrian Wilkins and company. Right, meow. Yes, that's the one. That is the one. So yeah, don't forget. So coming up later today is Timothy Rapp, doing content production for video games. He's got some awesome stuff. Him and his buddy made Disc Jam. So stick around later today for his stream. He does some awesome. He does stuff way quicker in ZBrush than I do. Like he just like pumps stuff out, and I'm like working on the same character for like weeks. So whenever I watch Tim, I'm like, I gotta be quicker. But I don't know, I do such high frequency detail stuff that like it's tough to go much quicker. Anyways, so yeah, if you want to try out ZBrush, there's a trial. Worth absolutely every single penny. If you don't want to go for the full version, there is a smaller version, which is ZBrush Core, which is a little bit cheaper. Has not all of the bells and whistles, but most of them. And think that's about it. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys learned a couple of things. But most of all, I hope you're inspired to go make your own really cool stuff. So go do it. Don't give up. Keep going. Make cool shit. Do it. Alright, guys and gals, I'm out. Later.